Doug, obviously not the performance you guys are looking for, but with Dennis specifically kind of struggling out there shooting, what have you seen from him and, one for his last 16?
Well, first of all, I think he's a little hobbled, so that's part of it. But bringing Dennis here wasn't all about offense. It's about defense, and that's what this is about. When I look at this isn't about offense. We've talked about offense, all these different things. If you're going to give up 144 points, if you're going to close a quarter in the second quarter and give up 40 and start the third and give up 40, you're not going to win many games. So, like struggling shooting the basketball, it's going to happen. Not super worried about Dennis. He puts in his work. He'll find his rhythm. But there is a rhythm to the game that can't be found when you're facing a set defense every single time. And, I get offense, and I hear that, but it's really about the defense. If you don't get stops, you don't win in our league, period. That's just the way that it is. And you can't close out with your hands down and people shooting that are hot. You got to make sure that you're doing all the simple, fundamental things that equate to winning basketball. That's what we have to understand on a night-to-night basis. There is no other magical potion or pill that is going to get you out of that, because this league, first of all, is really hard. It's hard to win in this league, but it's even more hard when you are missing assignments and those things on the defensive end and then trying to score against a set defense.
To that tune a little bit with your defense, I'm sure there's a lot of things you'd like to be cleaned up, but is there anything sort of top of list that you need to see every single night from that group?
I think there's a level of physicality that we have to have. We have 3 pillars. They are make them feel us. That's physicality. Communicate. So when you're seeing switches and guys are going the wrong way, they obviously didn't communicate. There's 2 ways to communicate. One is verbally and the other is with hand gestures. So if I'm going to switch, I'm going to holler out, red, 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 and then I'm going to point. So if you don't see guys doing that, then there's no communication. And then there's the compete level. That is first and foremost, like at the highest level of what it is. When you're thinking about playing defense, so when you're watching film and you guys are looking, are you down in a defensive stance and do you have your hands out? That's a universal athletic position. That is what defense starts with, first and foremost. And if you are not in that position, then you're not prepared to play defense, period. Because then the first thing that happens when a movement happens, you get down to go. Now you are behind the play. So those are some of the fundamental things that just are an absolute must. We're going to continue to hammer them home, and we will continue down the path. That's the one thing that we are going to do here for Sacramento Kings basketball. We are going to play defense, and we're going to win basketball games because of our defense.
Along those lines, you mentioned that level of compete. I'm curious, coming off of that the communication that you had with your team yesterday, how disappointing, I guess, was it to not kind of see that level of competition from them?
Like I say, there's talking about it and then there's being about it. You can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, but there's going to be a point where the ball gets thrown up and then there has to be actions behind what it is that you say. So that group in there has enough. There's enough depth. There's enough talent. There's all those things. There's a spirit. I'm a spirit person. And your spirit got to be right. Your spirit must be right, individually, and then collectively. And if it's not, that's what you're gonna see when you get out there on that floor. It's gonna be highly evident. And that's what you got to face. Basketball, there's ups and downs to it. So as low as you feel is as high as you feel. I get that. You never get too high, never get too low. But there is a level of compete, and that's what your spirit is about. Am I going to fight for my brother? Am I going to be there for my brother? Am I going to talk for my brother? Am I going to hit somebody for my brother?
Doug, not to beat a dead horse here with the defensive stuff, though, second game in a row that Keon's playing just in the fourth quarter after giving up multiple 40-point quarters before that. Is there a way to find a way to get him on the court since he is one of your best defensive players?
Yeah, I mean, like trying to play 10 players and find a rhythm for that is difficult. Like there's a log jam at that position. One guy plays damn near the whole game, the other guy plays a few minutes, and then there's Keon. But I know in this league that things happen how they happen. And the one thing that we're going to do is try to figure it out. So we'll see. I mean, defense has to be played. You know, there's moments where guys are playing good, and then all of a sudden we just forget what we're doing out there. And we have to have attention to detail, focus 24 seconds at a time. Seems like 24 seconds to lock in isn't that difficult, but it is. I get it. But whenever you're turning over the ball 18 times, like you could stand for 18 turnovers and 11 points. You could survive. But 18 turnovers with 37 points, they're scoring every single time. That can't happen. Listen, Keon knows how I feel about him. I love the kid. Been a big fan of his for a long time. So he'll get his opportunity. It's just how the game happens. So love our fans, understand our fans. I totally get it. I'm here to win basketball games. But first and foremost, there's a way to play. And we have to find that way to play. We have to trust that way to play. And it starts defensively, period. In the conversation. It just is what it is.
Doug, do you see enough like will or want to back there in terms of?
Sporadically. I think that you see it sporadically, yeah. But the consistency and the willingness to be consistent at that. You know, when we played OKC the other night, you know, you win the first quarter and then you drop the rope. But they are very consistent with their approach. They're very even if it goes bad. It's not like, oh, damn. It goes bad, it's okay. We're still going to be boxes and elbows. We're going to be down in defensive stance, and we're going to have our damn hands out. Then we're going to hit somebody and rebound the basketball before anything. And then offense is supposed to be fun. That's the gift of playing defense. So first and foremost, like, you got to stop somebody. You got to take pride in that together. This is not golf. This ain't no individual sport. This is a team sport, a collective sport. That's why I said collective spirit. So, yeah, I get the question, but there's a consistency at which you need to approach something. And we see it. You guys see it. All of a sudden it's like, damn, there they go. They playing. But it's not for long enough. In this league, that flashes, it's not it. You know, that's not good enough in our league.
Doug, your messaging has been consistent with if you play defense, that's what's going to get you and keep you on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
10 games into the season, how much is right now, like what's the balance of letting the guys figure it out together? And
that's kind of where we're at. Because listen, I've played, and every time you make a mistake, you don't want to get taken out of the game. So, okay, there's that. But multiple times, that's when we begin to have an issue and a problem. So that's where we're at. We're trying to find that balance of allowing guys to play because there's a rhythm to the game. I understand that. As an ex-player, I totally get it. But then there's a standard. And the Sacramento Kings are going to have a damn standard. Period. As long as I'm here, there's going to be a standard. Now, we haven't reached it yet, obviously, because that shit is unacceptable. Excuse me. Hope I don't get fined. But it's a must. There's no middle ground with this. If we really are trying to be about what we about, we're going to sacrifice for each other, not care about one end of the floor, and dive into the other end of the floor like some damn animals. Whether you can do it or you can't do it. One thing that I know about defense is there's individual defense, and we have some individual defenders, and there's team defense. And that's what it takes to be successful in this league. We have to be a team on the defensive end. That requires communication, that requires physicality, and that requires a level of compete that we did not see. And we gonna see it.
Coach, we know there's some difficult matchups with Keegan out. You started Precious tonight.
Yep.
You responded with a double-double.
Yep.
Curious if what you liked from it and if that's a combination we might see going forward.
Yeah, I thought Precious was great. There's some grown man things that Precious does out there, and I'm all for it. There's a level of physicality. There's a level of aggressiveness, and he rebounds the basketball. He rebounds the basketball at that position, and we need that because there's some big teams in this league. And his size, aggressiveness, and he's figuring it out still. So there's a bumpy part to that. Domas comes back. There's a bumpy part to that. Like, I get it. I'm not here for excuses. It's a reality. This is a reality-based business and a production, and I totally understand that. But we're going to damn figure it out. Appreciate y'all.
Giving up 144 tonight, just where did you see your defensive deficiencies?
Coach said we had 2 40-point quarters. That's been the theme lately, 1 quarter or 2, and then it's impossible, to try and get back in the game like that, no matter how good the offense is.
A lot of the talking points from training camp were winning the fight and picking up 94 feet. We haven't really seen that too consistently. Has the messaging changed, or is that still the expectation?
I think that's still the expectation, just a bit more depending on personnel and who and when. After the preseason games, we kind of decided on that.
Just, I guess, how's this kind of landing with you guys in the locker room?
Definitely not great. There's a lot of competitors there that have competed and won at a high level, and obviously it's not feeling great. We're trying to do everything we can to try and fix it, and there's not much I can say.
Domas, what are you seeing as the biggest issues? And to your point, is it fixable? Is it something that you guys can correct?
Like Coach says, at the end of the day, it's our defense. 144, we can't. We got to score 150 to win. Like, it's we just got to buckle up, be together, be united, and get some stops collectively.
Domas, ¿cómo hacer para recuperar la confianza y comenzar a ganar en esta temporada?
Tenemos que hacerlo todos juntos como un equipo y empieza con la defensa. Lo ha dicho el entrenador muchas veces. Hoy hemos tenido 2 cuartos de 40 puntos y eso es imposible ganar así.
Zach, obviously a poor defensive night for you guys. Where do you identify areas that could be cleaned up, or is it sort of all encompassing?
It's been the last couple nights. We haven't been able to stop the ball. We're getting the other teams are getting really easy looks. Defense is spread out. A lot of that is, I think that we're playing a lot in transition. We're not getting a lot done on the offensive end. It's putting us in a bad defensive position. At least that's what I feel. So it's easier playing with a set defense, but we got to do a better job with some resistance because we're not getting any fouling. It's open sea.
Zach, where's still is relatively early, but is there a level of frustration in the locker room right now?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak for myself. It's frustrating because we got a lot of talented guys in the team and guys that care and are competitive. But it's something that we got to work through. You don't want it to be happening right now at Game 8. You don't want it to happen later on in the season. But at least we have time to try to look at some film and fix it. But yeah, at least me, I'm a little frustrated. It just doesn't feel good to get your ass whooped by 25, 30 last couple games.
Zach, that is 3 40-point quarters in the last 2 games. How do you guys figure out how to at least give some resistance, more physicality, something?
Yeah, I mean, tonight was tough. They playing with the 2 bigs out there. We're already a little small. We got in the penalty a little bit too early. I think it was just open floodgates from there. So we got to figure out something. Can't put a finger on it right now.
Zach, Anthony Edwards, he missed his first 5 shots, then he got really hot that second quarter. I think he had 15, 16 points. What happened there on defense on him?
I mean, Ant's an all-NBA player, you know, and you can put a lot of attention on, but just like any of us, you know, Ant misses 5 shots, he's going to take another 20 shots. He's going to take 20, you know. He's going to get hot eventually, and you just try to make it tough on him. I think we gave him a couple easy ones. He got fouled on a 3-point play or something like that. So, you know, you try to give those guys tough looks because they're going to get their numbers. Try to make it tough on them.
Zach, does it feel like when the opposition is going on one of these runs, especially in one of those second quarters from tonight and even back with the Thunder, does it feel like there's kind of a let up when they get kind of rolling that way on some of those long runs?
A let up in what way?
Maybe I don't know. Maybe like maybe you're waiting for a foul or a stoppage to come. It feels like, you know, if they get out in transition, it's kind of extending some of these runs.
Yeah, I mean, there's flows to the game. I feel like that there was a couple calls that were obvious that weren't made, you know, for us, and you know maybe we didn't get back. I know one I didn't get back at all, and that's something that's unacceptable. But it's human nature. It's going to happen throughout the game. But you know, I just think it's lows throughout the game. I think when we have runs, we don't capitalize on them. You know, we'll be in a nice little groove, and then we don't capitalize on it. We'll get some stops, and then they'll come back at us, and we don't figure out how to make an adjustment when they do. So we got to figure it out all around.
Zach, we've always known Doug here to be with the defensive first mentality and the defensive first identity. Whether it's you personally or just individual guys on the team, is he strongly or specifically speaking with you guys individually about individual defense, or is it more kind of a team defensive focus?
I think everybody's understanding that's the focus. I think that's what they came into the season with. Obviously, there's a personnel thing with that goes with that as well. Guys can go out there and play as tough as they can on defense. I said, I speak for myself. You know, I think we've all been trying. I've been trying my ass off on defense, but you know, you need a team collective, the right identity. Sometimes you need the right personnel out there. You know, you're not going to ask Rudy Gobert to go out there and average 30. So. He's a defensive guy, though, and that's his job. But I think with the guys that we have on the team, we got to play to the right strengths of the team. And I think defensively, we got to be there for each other, help each other. But then on the other end, we got to take advantage of that. So, you know, that's what I think, and that's what I see. I think guys are giving the right effort. It's just frustrating when we're not getting the right results. Thank you.